Hello everyone, it's me, Orpheon, your infant dragon sorcerer here, and today I'm making a second part to what if Deku was a White Lantern. And when we last left off, Deku, he pretty much does well in the hero versus villain test. I think, hold on, give me a sec. Okay, everyone, actually, when the last part of this what if, it was right after the USJ attack. Like, literally after the USJ attack. And, okay, I'm sorry, I forgot. And, okay, let's get back to the what if. Somewhere across space, pretty much a star sapphire ring, the pink, star sapphire, the pink lantern core of love, pretty much a star sapphire ring started to somewhat detect a sort of a very new sense of strong love. It basically detected a massive amount of love from a certain location. It then was floating or speeding to with light. It was moving at the speed of light to Earth, and it's way on the other side of the universe, like where the the star Sapphire's home planet came from. Basically, they sent a ring to find and recruit a new star Sapphire, and pretty much it detected a very strong and powerful sense of love at on Earth, basically. And yeah, someone from Class 1A is getting a Star Sapphire ring. And in this what if, I'm actually going to explain who gets it closer to the end. Well, the Star Sapphire ring is going to Earth. Pretty much Uraraka is heading home, not not exactly heading home, but it's like morning the next day, and everyone is heading to UA to go to school. And Deku then wakes up and he pretty much activates his White Lantern ring, and his ring then detects another ring about to find someone. And he doesn't know at first, but his ring has been sort of guiding Deku, and he doesn't know it yet. So the ring is still with Deku because he's now a White Lantern, so he has to do what he can do and follow the rules of the Lantern Corps. And pretty much he flies over to Class 1A, and the press, not the press, basically everyone's heading their classes, and Deku floats into Class 1A, and Uraraka's a little late, but she manages to get there on time. And yeah, then the pink girl with the acid quirk, she asks, "So, Asui, who do you think is going to be our teacher this class?" And Asui, she says, "I don't know. Aizawa was pretty hurt during by the villains who attacked us, and basically, Aizawa shows up in the classroom with bandages, and he says, "All right, everyone, take your seats." Good. Everyone's actually surprised that he's still okay, but he says, we don't have time to rest because it's time for the UA Sports Festival." He then explains to Class 1A this is the best way to get themselves noticed by hero agencies, so when they graduate UA and become pros, the hero agencies will scout out them, and if they're picked and they get a whole bunch of invitations, they pretty much more or less are going to become pros, and they get selected to be part of a certain hero, or as work as sidekicks or new recruits and stuff like that. And everyone is really excited, but Uraraka, she's really excited. She's focused and motivated because the reason she wants to become a hero, if you guys don't know, is because she wants to earn a whole bunch of money to help provide for her parents and financially, because the company, ever since Cork showed up, they've been losing money, and Uraka wants to help her parents because she cares about them and she wants to help them live happily, and you know. And Deku, he floats towards Uraka, and he's technically still not. He's not wearing his White Lantern costume all the time, but he's just floating towards Uraka and tells Uraka, "Don't worry. I know you'll do a great job at the sports festival." And Aizawa then says, "Is all right. Enough with all that, everyone. Since you're all going to be preparing for the sports festival, you all need to train and improve your quirks, because you need to improve them and then see what you can do to get yourself scouted, because this plays a big role in your hero careers." He's got it, so don't pull any punches. But later on that day, all the other classes were looking were outside class 1A, and they basically saw, and they were staring at them. Like, the whole hallway in front of class 1A is literally filled with a bunch of other students from other courses. And everyone's like, "Okay, what's going on?" And pretty much Bakugo explains that they're all scouting the competition. And Shinso then says, "You better not pull any of your punches, because any one of us could easily take you down if we get the chance." And then later on that day, everyone was training for the past couple of days and possibly weeks to prepare for the UA Sports Festival. And they are determined to become pros. And they were giving it their all. And Deku and Uraka and Bakugo, Deku is right now, he's basically just meditating and studying to see what form types of ability, and taking notes of that, what type of his abilities and stuff that his ring can do. He tries to learn as much as possible about his ring and how, if he feels strong emotions such as rage or something else like that, then and he'll practice getting angry. He tries getting angry, and he can't exactly control that the red light of rage. So when he tries to use the red light of rage, he actually destroys a bunch of trees and just smashes them and destroys them with red napalm blast. And he's like, okay, I'm definitely not going to be using that anytime soon. Unless it's necessary. Or hopefully not anybody. And he tries to see if he can figure out the indigo light of compassion. So he tries to use it to teleport, but he teleports only a few feet away from where he was. And he's trying to get used to other colors, but I want you guys to let me know which colors of the emotional spectrum should he use most often. Should he just use Green Lantern light constructs, but in white the color of white, or should Deku just do what he can to win the sports festival? And in this what if, Deku doesn't have one for all. And yeah, I mean, he doesn't really have one for all because, well, I think he has one for all, but I sort of forgot. I mean, let me know in the comments if you want him to have one for all, or you want him to just have the White Lantern ring, because he has the White Lantern ring in this what if, but I want you all to leave a comment saying if he should just have one for all or just let someone else have it. Probably Mirio or something in this what if. Just leave me a comment down below. And I mean all of my subscribers. Leave a comment to give your own opinion on this what if. Basically about if Deku should have one for all or someone else should have it because he's already too OP as it is. And Bakugo, he still, after he usually, every day when he gets done with his training, the red lantern ring still is just sitting, floating there in his room, still waiting for him to accept it. And it literally targeted Bakugo because he has a strong sense of rage. He has strong rage, and the Red Lantern Ring, oddly enough, usually it tries to force its way on Bakugo, on someone's finger, but this time, or occasionally, or someone else. But Bakugo just refused to accept the ring, and let me know if you guys want Bakugo to become a Red Lantern. I mean, if you want Bakugo to become a Red Lantern, just say in the comments, make Bakugo a Red Lantern. And the most likes on that comment, and or you guys make 2 comments or 1 comment saying your own opinion if Bakugo should wear the Red Lantern ring and become a Red Lantern, or he shouldn't and just be normal. And let's get back to the what if. Pretty much, Uraraka then, when she's training, she then, later on that day, well, that night, when she's about to sleep after a couple of days of grueling training, the pink sapphire ring begins to show up in front of Uraraka. It starts to float and says, Ochako Uraraka of Earth, you have the capacity for you have a great amount of love in your heart. You are chosen to become a star sapphire. And Uraraka is trying to figure out what is that. And Uraraka, she she actually tries to put the ring on, and then she feels the power of love flowing through her. And she actually looks at herself in her mirror in her room, and she sees, wait, what's up with this costume? Is that's this is what is this? And pretty much she later on before the UA Sports Festival, she's been trying to get to be able to figure out more about this pink ring, the star sapphire ring. And then she pretty much which has it on, but she doesn't know if she can use it because she doesn't want to be disqualified or for using a support item or something like that. And now it's time for the UA Sports Festival. And well, not exactly. You know what? Before the UA Sports Festival, Class 1B, the copy guy, Momoa, who has the copy quirk, basically laughs and insults the Class 1A when they're eating lunch. And everyone looks at him and how he's acting and insulting and berating insults towards Class 1A, saying that they're just nothing but a bunch of big shots, thinking that you're better than everyone else. Class 1B is going to be better than you 1A wannabes. And pretty much, then a big hand hits Momo in the back of the neck, knocking him out. And a girl from Class 1B, she said, apologies, forget everything he just said, and drags Momoa by his short shirt and tries him to sit down. And everyone in Class 1A is like, seriously, what's with this guy? He seriously has issues. And then they start eating lunch. Then it's time for the UA Sports Festival. And Deku is technically MVP, so him and then Bakugo are about to give their speeches. And Deku says, well, I'm actually honored to be there's a lot of people here. I'm actually glad I get to be here. And he's a little nervous, but he then says, I'm actually glad I'm here, able to show the world what I can do. And getting to see a lot of interesting and different quirks. And pretty much everyone starts to then cheer for Deku a little, and Deku's mom is watching on TV at home, but right before Deku is about to finish his speech, he then says he then thinks to himself, I wonder what I should say if I become number one on in the sports festival. Sorry, I'm just making sure no notifications show up on my phone. So sorry if some of the screen shows up notifications. Okay, back to the web. And pretty much after Deku floats down to the field in the center of the stadium where all the students are that are taking part in this sports festival, Bakugo walks up and pretty much says that he's better than everyone here, and he's gonna become number one. So anyone you wannabes who thinks they're gonna win, You're dead wrong. Everyone in the crowd is like shocked to hear what Bakugo's saying, and every one of the students are like, ugh, I'm so gonna beat the crap out of that guy. Can't wait to beat this jerk. And everyone's just, the mood completely changed, and everyone was definitely gunning for Class 1A after what Bakugo said. And then everyone, President Mike is about to explain that the first part of the sports festival is a race and obstacle course. And everyone is almost ready. And Aizawa is sitting right next to President Mike, and he's just not saying anything. But President Mike is about to say, "Alright, is everyone ready? 3, 2, 1, go!" And everyone is swarming the narrow tunnel to get to the next part of the obstacle course from the starting line. And when they get into the narrow tunnel, Deku then suits up into his White Lantern costume and starts flying over to get to the starting line, to get to the finish line before anyone else. But he then remembers what Todoroki said, because before the sports festival started, when everyone was getting ready in the locker room or the waiting room, Todoroki then says, "Izuku Midoriya." I mean, not Izuku Midoriya, but Midoriya. I'm actually going to beat you, no matter what. You have the strongest core, so I'm gonna beat you, no matter what. He declares war on Deku, and Deku says, "Well, I guess that means I won't hold back either." But Todoroki also says that he'll beat you using only his left side, not his fire side. But Deku's then pauses and say, "Really? If you're not going to use the full power of your quirk, then I'm honestly thinking that's just a waste." Then we get back to the UA Sports Festival, where every one of the students is trying to get through the narrow cave, but then Todoroki uses his ice side to freeze the floor of the narrow cave. Only a few people manage to get past, but Deku's far ahead than everyone from the starting line. When the zero-pointer robots appear in front of the starting line, Deku actually uses his White Lantern ring to make a drill. Technically, an actual drill to drill right through one of the zero pointers, and then able to just keep moving forward. And he's moving with insane speed, almost close to Mach 2, or basically past the speed of sound. And he can go faster, but he's trying to make sure, or to figure out if there's any sort of obstacles that he might not be able to use his ring in too much, because he doesn't know if there's a battery life to it. And Todoroki then freezes the zero pointers, and then he uses eyes to go right through them, and the zero pointers fall over, and some of the students are able to move, but 2 people actually got trampled on by the zero pointers, but don't worry, they're alive. sorry, everybody. They're alive. It was Hiroshima using his quirk hardening, and Class 1B Tetsu Tetsu. That's literally his name, and he has Korg using his Korg real steel. And they both said in sync, "Man, if it wasn't for if I didn't have this Korg, I would have been dead." If they no, they basically say this, "Man, if that would have been anyone else, they probably would have been dead." And then they look at each other, and then Kirishima starts running to try to get farther, and then he says, "Oh man, how can I stand out if both of our orcs are exactly the same?" And pretty much everyone's trying to get past the obstacle course, but Deku's ahead by a lot. He reaches the minefield, and he actually tries to power down. And he powers down, but everyone's shocked and is like, "Wait, is that his Korg?" It's rather impressive. And he tries to run, but he tries to figure out where the mines are because he doesn't know how much of a charge his ring has. So he tries to gather up a bunch of landmines underground and avoid charging them all at once. But Bakugo is right behind Deku, and Todoroki is almost catching up to Bakugo. Deku tries to hurry, and he basically was able to get a piece of one of the robots and try to use that to dig up some of the mines, and as soon as they all get ahead, trying to get ahead of Midoriya, just like in the anime, he basically slams the piece of the robot he took from one of the robots, and he uses that to cause a chain reaction to get to the finish line first. And everyone's like surprised that he actually gambled his chances of becoming first in this race to go on a theory to see if it would work. And Deku, he pretty much becomes first and gets 10 billion points for becoming first. Bakugo becomes second, and Todoroki is third. And everyone wants to team up with Deku, but Deku ends up choosing Uraraka and that girl with the support gear that always says that her technology calls her technology her babies, basically. And there's a random person that just was lucky enough to be on Deku's team. He pretty much uses his White Lantern ring to make a sort of plane or sort of platform and asks Uraraka to hold the 10 billion points. And everyone is targeting Uraraka because she has the 10 billion points that Deku won, but Deku trusts Uraraka and she starts to blush. And she nods and says, "Okay, Deku." And pretty much and they say, "Go," and everyone tries to target Uraraka's 10 million points, Deku uses his ring to make a platform and tries to also concentrate and make sure that the platform doesn't disappear. So, through the remainder of the entire cavalry battle, everyone's trying to get the 10 billion points from Deku's team, but Bakugo uses his Korg and tries to get up there close to Uraraka to take the 10 billion points. But Deku, he uses his ring to make a part of the platform have a barrier with him inside. So Bakugo's up there trying to use his quirk to destroy the barrier, but it's not working. He gets angrier and angrier, and then he can barely get his grip and falls down. And his team catches him. And then his team explains that, Bakugo, that dude from Class 1B, he stole our points. And Bakugo's like mad. He's like straight up mad. Like, what? Everyone, change of plans. We're going after him. And then Todoroki tries to use his eyes to break past Deku's barrier, but it still doesn't work. And he's making sure that he focuses and doesn't break his focus. Otherwise, the barrier might collapse, and he doesn't know how long his ring might last. Because he doesn't know he doesn't know how to charge it, but the ring will, after this part of the sports festival, will explain in his head how he can recharge his ring. So, yeah, that'll make it way more easier to explain why he's basically able to use the ring whenever without worrying about the battery going dead. But I don't know for sure if the White Lantern Corps has a power battery or anything like that, since there's only 7 of them, and I don't know how many Lantern Corps other than 7 have been chosen. But to make it more understandable, this what if, pretty much Deku is protecting the 10 million points, and when time runs out, the lineup in the tournament is still relatively similar, and Deku is still first instead of, well, technically Deku is first, Todoroki is second, and Bakugo is third in this part. And when the guy with the tail says he quits, and some other people say they quit too because he doesn't remember. None of them remember how they won or how they got this far. And everyone's just thinking, "Wait, what? They got this far and yet they're quitting? That's stupid." Everyone thinks it, but they don't say it. And but then the guy with the tail quirk, he then talks to Midoriya, and he then explains that guy over there, Shiro or Shinso, he tells him to, whatever you do, don't answer any of his questions. Don't even talk to him. And Deku, he basically says, alright, I won't talk to him. And it's almost time for the tournament part of the UA Sports Festival. Deku's first opponent is Shinso, and he tries to talk to Deku and ask him questions, but Deku doesn't say anything. He basically just uses his White Lantern ring to make a barrier around Shinso, but he makes sure that he's outside the field or the ring, and basically lets him fall, and he's out just like that. And pretty much everyone cheers at Deku, and they admire him for how powerful his quirk is, and everyone likes his quirk. They think it's impressive and it's really cool. And pretty much at the second part of the tournament is Uraraka versus Bakugo. And she still loses, but she's still wearing the Star Sapphire ring. When Bakugo tries to use his quirk on Uraraka without holding back. She, at the last minute, she then activates her Star Sapphire ring, and she's wearing a Star Sapphire costume. And everyone's like surprised that, wait, what is that light? And everyone's surprised, and even Bakugo's like, what the hell? What's going on? What? Does she have two quirks as quirks? Oh, how's that possible? Uraraka then says, I guess I have to give it everything I got this time. I'm lucky enough that this ring was able to protect me. So, I need to use it. And Uraraka, she basically forms a pink barrier around Bakugo, and Bakugo's trying to break out of it, but no matter what, it doesn't work. So in this part, what if? Yeah, Bakugo, he's out, but before he almost gets out by ring out, he uses his quirk explosion just to make sure that he's gets back in the ring, to make sure he doesn't get disqualified for a ring out. But Uraraka then makes a barrier all around the edges of the ring, so Bakugo can't get in. And Bakugo's really pissed off. He's like, damn it, damn it, damn it! I can't go down like this, I can't! This isn't how it's supposed to work! This isn't how it's supposed to be! I'm supposed to be number one, no one else! He uses explosion and tries to destroy the barrier, but oddly enough, the Red Lantern ring starts to react and senses all of the rage that Bakugo is feeling, and it's on its way to Bakugo. But it's already too late, because Bakugo, he's exhausted and he's passes out and tries to stand up, but he can't, because Uraraka's ring was able to push him out of the ring by ring out. And Uraraka is the winner. And everyone was surprised, and they were shocked. What is it with this girl's quirk? What type of quirk does she even have? What was that pink light? And everyone looks at Uraraka, and she starts to blush and say, I guess I win. She laughs, and everyone's cheering for Uraraka, and they're glad she won after such a hard battle. But it wasn't really a hard battle. It was for Bakugo, but a little bit for her, and she won that part. And basically, it's time for Deku versus Todoroki. Before the match, Todoroki tells Deku that he's not going to use his fire side no matter what. He's going to beat him no matter what. So you better not hold back at all. And pretty much Deku says to Todoroki, if you're not going to use your full quirk, and neither am I don't even need to. I'm just going to have to beat you a little bit, but I'm not going to give it my all if you're just going to not fight at your full power. And the match begins, and Todoroki uses his quirk to make a giant glacier of ice, and Deku was able to just make a barrier around himself to make sure that, and tries to make sure that he doesn't get disqualified for a ring out. Oh, and the ice just forms around Deku's barrier. And then Todoroki, he tries to use more ice, and then he makes glaciers form into spears. And pretty much, it still doesn't work against Deku. Todoroki starts getting irritated. He's breathing hard because he feels like he's almost running out of stamina or energy. And then Deku still tries to give him that talk, saying, Todoroki, this seriously, your quirk is your quirk. It isn't your father's. Your father can't choose who's your destiny. You make your own fate. It doesn't matter what your father tells you what to do. What matters is what you do with your quirk. It's your power, not his. And then Todoroki uses his fire side, and his father is like very proud. He shouts into the crowd, saying to Todoroki, "Yes, my son, use your quirk. Use the power that your father gave you." And everyone sees, like, what the heck? He's Endeavor actually giving fatherly advice and supporting someone. They're like, some of them are like, now I've seen everything. And pretty much Deku decides to go all out. And, well, Deku uses his White Lantern ring and starts making instead of actually using his ring too much, he pretty much uses his ring to make a sort of fists. Giant white fists constructs. Giant white light fist constructs, basically. And he uses them to start punching, and literally then they form into a drill and drill through his ice. And then Todoroki uses his flames to try to attack, and Deku makes a shield out of his ring. And Deku then tries to use that shield and turn it into an actual sword. And then Todoroki, he dodges using his ice and defend, and it works. And then Deku then tries to fly up and then use his ring to blast a bunch of energy towards Todoroki, and it makes a huge ice barrier around him. And Deku's energy can only pierce it a little, but Todoroki was able to earn that ice and make an opening and use his fire side. And used it to melt through the ice for a surprise attack at Deku. Deku was barely able to dodge Todoroki's attack, and he managed to get out and come out unscathed. But then, he flies towards Todoroki and tries to make some chains out of his White Lantern ring. And then at that moment, his ring began to flicker, like it was turned, like the light was dimming and his costume was starting to fade away. And he was a little bit above the ground, but he's able to land on his feet because he's still a little bit stronger before the ring's power dies out. And then Todoroki manages just to use his ice and then push Deku out of bounds. And yeah, that's a twist, because he didn't know at first how much of a charge his White Lantern ring had. So This is pretty much a sort of way of leveling him down. And then the ring tells Deku that the way to recharge his ring. And after the battle, he does that and hits recharge. I still don't know if White Lanterns have to recharge their rings. So if any of you guys know if that's canon or the case, please let me know down in the comments, because I don't want to sound stupid. I'm sorry. Oh man, I'm just trying to make sure I don't get at the wrong amount of information in these what ifs, because I'm trying my best to make sure it sounds more plausible in how it would go if Deku had a certain power. So let me know down in the comments of this video that if I got something wrong, and you just call me out on it. I'm not kidding. Just call me out on it and explain to me in the comments, and I'll redo this video if there's some things I left out. So, okay, thank you everyone if you just call me out on some stuff I left out in this what if video, and I'll fix it and making corrections as the correct information is told to me in the comments. I'm sorry. Back to the what if. Okay. Everyone was surprised at how much power that Deku had, and he still lost. And everybody was surprised that he lost, but he made it this far somewhat. And then we're at the part where the final part of the tournament is Uraraka versus Todoroki. And she tries to figure out more about this ring and how it works, but she's able to understand it a little bit. But after seeing Deku put all his strength into this fight with Todoroki, she starts to feel like her heart is beating faster, and she's starting to blush, and then she starts thinking, wait, what is this feeling? Do I have a crush on Deku? I mean, he's cute and all, but oh man, she starts getting frustrated and confused, and she doesn't know how to express these feelings. And all of a sudden, when she was thinking about Deku, she was teleported. Her ring teleported her right next to Deku, and he's in Recovery Girl's office getting healed up a little, because he wasn't hurt, but he's still a little tired and bruised a little. And Uraraka's like, wait, what the? And Deku is half asleep, and Recovery Girl's like, hey, Uraraka, what are you doing in here? Aren't you supposed to be getting ready for your turn in the tournament and at the sports festival? And Uraraka's like, oh yeah, sorry. Then Uraraka asks, is Deku okay? Recovery Girl says, yeah, he's fine. Amazingly, he's not hurt, or he's hardly even hurt. He's just exhausted. But he's gonna need plenty of rest. Seriously, what is this kid's quirk? It still has my mind baffled. And Uraraka then leaves, and then says to herself in her head, don't worry, Deku. I'll win this for both of us. But she then starts to blush, and then she just embarrassingly walks out of the room in a hurry. And she then figures out that the ring she's wearing, it basically somehow teleported her to Deku, and only Deku. Is it because she thought about him and she had feelings towards him? But she didn't have time for that. And she thought to herself, alright, it's time to win this. And basically, in the fight for against Todoroki, Uraraka then uses her ring and to start making, I don't know, let's see. She made pretty much hearts. Like, she used her ring to blast actual hearts at Todoroki, and then he uses his ice, and I know this sounds ridiculous, but I'm trying to come up with what type of abilities that the Star Sapphires have in their Lantern Corps, because I have not been all caught up with DC Comics and the DC Rebirth, and I'm sorry, I'm trying. I'm sorry, everyone, just call me out about that. She basically starts to fly towards Todoroki and then blasting Todoroki, but his ice, he uses his ice to block and tries to use his fire to hit Uraraka. And oddly enough, they go to a beam struggle, and Todoroki then starts to feel like he's burning and hurting himself. Then he uses his ice to fire a barrage of ice attacks towards Uraraka. And Uraraka, she flies up and dodges. Then she tries to attack Todoroki with a powerful blast of pink light. And it actually sort of weakens him, but then the light he makes with her ring actually forms into a type of lock, like a sort of chains that wrap up around Todoroki, but he's somehow not able to break through them. He tries using his ice to freeze them, but they just freeze over and they don't affect it. Uraraka then thinks to herself, this time I'll win for both me and Deku. And then in her head, she's like, oh man, do I have feelings for Deku? Oh man, I don't understand any of this. And she then lifts Todoroki away from the ring, and Todoroki tries to use his fire side to burn through Uraraka's light constructs, but it doesn't even work. It doesn't break them. And pretty much, yeah. Then Uraraka actually wins. She's actually number one. And All Might then presents 3 medals for Uraraka for first place, a gold medal, Todoroki for bronze, second place, and Deku, who unfortunately couldn't come to the third place spot, but he'll give Midoriya his medal, well, as soon as he wakes up from his recovery. And Bakugo's like really mad. He's angry. He's straight up furious. And the League of Villains are watching Bakugo's reaction and how he's behaving. And Bakugo, he's straight up furious. He wondered, damn it, I lost to that damn girl? Am I really that weak? Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it! It was all Deku's fault. I should have been able to beat them easily. And I lost like that? Damn it all! And All For One, Tomoe Shigaraki, Konagiri, and the League of Villains are all watching Bakugo's facial expressions and reactions. They notice Bakugo's violent tendencies, and Bakugo, later on that day, he heads home after the UA Sports Festival He then goes to his room in his house, and he basically, the ring actually charges towards him, and Bakugo willingly puts on the ring, and he starts to feel power he's never felt before. This rage, his anger and hatred to everyone who's weaker than him. He felt the power of the Red Lantern ring coursing through his veins. His organs and blood were beginning to be replaced by red napalm blood. And he then becomes Bakugo, the Red Lantern. And guys, that's where I'm going to leave it off this time. As always, leave a like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Please share this video, and also please point out any mistakes or plot holes I left in this what if, because I totally am still way behind on information involving what the Pink Lantern Corps and White Lantern Corps abilities are, and I'm still trying to figure out more information about the Red Lantern Corps, and I'm way behind. I'm sorry everyone if I got some things wrong and left a couple of plot holes in this what if. So please down in the comments let me know your opinion on the White Lantern's power situation, and if they have to recharge, or see if I need to fix it, or if I need to make corrections. And always thank you for watching this video. Alright, gotta get started in the next video. Infinity Overdrive! Infinite realities, infinite possibilities. See you all next time!